Hello and welcome everybody to Game 2 of Feast vs. MMA from the IEM Kiev quarterfinals. Feast is currently up 1 after a well-played Game 1 where he basically just fast expanded, thwarted the heck out of MMA's 1-1-1, just completely ruined MMA's timing, forcing him to have to just add on a few gateways and go for one big all-in, but Feast was just sitting on two bases for way too long. MMA was just not able to break Feast at the front. And so Feast was able to take a nice little Game 1 victory for him against MMA. Not bad for going up against probably one of the best StarCraft 2 players in the world. Now, here in Game 2 is going to be on Tal'Darim altar and spawning in the top right position. As the teal Terran playing from Team Slayers, we have MMA. His opponent, Feast, the man I was just talking about, has spawned in the top left position as the red Protoss playing from Team Millennium. Gonna have to see how he's gonna be playing out this match. Neither player knows where the other has spawned, unlike in Dual Site. God, I could not remember that map name. I was just picturing it in my head. Could not remember the map name for the life of me, but Dual Site was the name of the map. This is about as close by ground positions as you can get on this map. If it were cross positions, much more likely to get a more macro-styled game, but the fact that we have fairly short distance between this and to there, it's possible to get some rushes on this map. Some players will choose to do that. Looks like Feast going to be going to scout in the completely wrong direction, meaning he's going to be getting the latest possible scout on his opponent, not going to see at all what he is doing. I would expect both of these players to probably go for some kind of fast expansion build on this map, just because on this map, it's not too bad of a second base to defend. A lot of times you can defend this ramp, not with too much difficulty, as Terrans can throw up their bunkers. A lot of times Protoss players will completely wall that off with gateways and forges, but as we can see, Feast so far opening pretty standard here, almost identical to before in Game 1, but will he be throwing down that command center? No, he's actually going to be going for a second gas this time around here, which means tech. We're going to be seeing some kind of tech play here from Feast before going on any kind of aggressive moves, and there we go. The two probes and two workers just meet, and both players now know, I believe, where the other has spawned, except for maybe MMA, who might actually be heading... Yep, looks like he is going to be heading south here, and I really, really like this from MMA. This is something we don't see nearly enough. A lot of players will not check the Xel'Naga watchtowers, but if you kind of peek in at the Xel'Naga towers, sometimes you'll actually catch probes either coming out or going back to their base, and it can be a big indicator as to where your opponent has spawned. And it really doesn't cut off too much time, because if you do not go here, they'll just kind of take this route through there. So it's not too bad of a little move to make. Now, as we can see, MMA going to be going for a reactor right now. Factory has been thrown down, and as we can see, he is just now throwing down that command center. And this is that build I was talking about in Game 1, where some players will choose to get this factory before the command center. And like I said, because I think it's going to work out alright on this map, just because, like I said, they did spawn relatively close positions, so if you're getting out a little bit more units, or in this case, units that are designed to put pressure back on your opponent, can be alright. But this command center is just going to be a little bit later than one of those one racks expands, which I generally tend to like as when I play Terran on this map. The bunkers here are often good enough to hold off any kind of early pressure from your opponent. Now the Hellions are now moving out across the map here. They are going to see that, notice, no expansion has gone down for Feast yet. Looks like 3 gateways are up so far. Cybernetics Core, and we do have Blink on the way. This is actually a really, really fast... Whoa, a little bit of lag there. This is a ridiculously fast Blink here from Feast, so it looks like it is going to be some kind of a Blink Stalker play. I would almost expect to be seeing maybe possibly some kind of Observer and Robo coming up here very soon, but it looks like, first of all, he's going to have to deal with these 2 Hellions in their base, which are actually getting a good number of probe kills right now, as he has already managed to pick off 4 workers, and it looks like he's continuing to do more damage. Another one gets taken down here, and these 2 Hellions are definitely being worth their weight in minerals right now, as they are doing quite a bit of damage. One does get taken out, but it looks like the other is going to be able to escape and make it back home with the news that it has just killed 5 workers. And Feast's going to have to replenish those rather quickly. Now the 3 warp gates are now up, and he is just going to be warping in more and more stalkers, as it looks like he is going to be trying to get aggressive here. There is one pylon here in the middle of the map so that he can start to get aggressive towards his opponent. And as we can see, MMA going to be taking a second base here very soon. There is a bunker up. Siege tanks are now up here for MMA. Siege tech is about a third of the way done. It'll be done shortly. There is a barracks now with a reactor going to be researching, and oh no, one Marine accidentally got out on the wrong side of the barracks, and now it is going to be taken down here. The stalker's going to start to focus down this barracks, and interestingly enough, MMA actually moving south to take that southern expansion. Now, I'm not sure whether that was what he was actually just planning to do this whole time, or whether just because he saw stalkers at the front of his base, he decided to move south. That's actually an interesting question, or whether that was intended to be a hidden expansion from the start. As we can see, that's going to start to pay off for him very nicely here, unless Feast scouts it, because this is going to do very, very well, because Feast is not going to know where all these additional resources are coming from. Siege mode is now up, and oh, those siege tanks are getting a couple of free shots off on those stalkers. One goes down, 2 of them take quite a bit of health, and now they are going to be forced to pull back. And wow, MMA just barely saving that supply depot, taking not too many losses other than a few Marines there in that little exchange. If we check out the units loss tab, pretty even right now. Both players have lost just about an even amount. There we go. We do now see the robotics bay, the robotics facility rather, is now coming up. We do see the observer is going to be on the way, and that is of course going to help with all of the blink moves that Feast is going to want to go for. Nice little pick off there by Feast, just picking off the Marine and then blinking back so he doesn't take any siege tank fire. Nice little move there. But now he thinks that he's going to be containing his opponent right now. Right now, Feast is thinking, I've got my component completely contained right now to 2 base. Will we see an expansion come up? Notice none has been taken still by Feast, as he is really committed to doing some damage here. As we can see, the other Hellion tried to get back in the base, tried to do some more damage. Did he actually? He got 1 more worker, it looks like. But now we do see the warp gate count is being increased here up to 4 warp gates. And so it looks like Feast is really going to be trying to go for some aggression here and denying the second base. I'm actually really surprised that as long as he has this, quote, contain on his opponent, he's not taking an expansion. I'm actually very, very surprised by that, because this number of stalkers, there's no way that he's ever going to be able to break this front from MMA. MMA has the bunker, he's got these siege tanks there, and you almost never want to blink directly into siege tanks. Almost always ends up being bad, but the fact that MMA also has this base down here mining means that he's going to have a lot of resources. And oh no, Feast blinks down onto the low ground, but these siege tanks are in position to deal damage to those stalkers, and Feast just starts taking a lot more damage than he really needs to be, losing a couple of stalkers there carelessly. Their remains just left spread on the floor. Looks like MMA is going to be holding this off quite well, and I don't think Feast is going to be able to do any damage with this. I think he really needs to have expanded a while ago. I can't believe that he's still trying to break the front with all of these blink stalkers. This is just not the map to do it. If you were on Metalopolis, where you can kind of blink into the base, pick off workers, and then blink back out of the base, then I would kind of see this strategy working. But here on Tal'Darim Altar, there's just no way that he's ever going to break this front of MMA. And in the meantime, he's not expanding, and MMA has this secret expansion there, which is pretty much going to guarantee MMA the win, assuming he can hold these stalkers off long enough, which I don't think is going to be a problem at all. As we can see, there's another command center now coming down here for MMA, as he now moves out with the siege tanks. Some nice blink micro going down by Feast, but he's losing quite a bit of stalkers there, and MMA really didn't lose a whole lot. Looks like he only lost a couple of Marines in that exchange. In the meantime, this observer trying to move around MMA's base and saying, how does he have so much stuff? I don't understand how he can have so many units. He's got to be wondering at this point how MMA has so many forces. As we can see, this base has been mining. There's been quite a few mules that have been used down here. And, oh, is the observer finally going to move down here to this southern position and check it out? I think he might. Yes, he is now going to see that that expansion did indeed go down. And he's going to wonder now, how long has this been mining? And there we go, the stalkers are now moving down into the third to start to deal some damage. Looks like he's going to be able to pick off this orbital command. That could actually be a big loss here for MMA, as he's going to lose some workers as well. And now he's going to be able to finish off this orbital command. Now there is another one in the base of MMA, and notice still, Feast has taken no expansion of his own at all. But I don't know whether that expansion ended up being worth it for MMA or not. If we look in the food count, we can see that MMA is up about 30 food right now compared to Feast, and Feast now taking his Nexus. In my opinion, this is a super Super late Nexus. Looks like Feast gonna try to go for some kind of little bit of stalker pressure here, but there's a good number of Marine Marauders still here in the back of the base, and Feast does see that, and he's gonna be blinking now up into the base. Gonna be able to pick off that tech lab, completely stops that concussive shell from being researched. Not gonna be able to get the reactor as well, and now he's just waiting for that blink to come back so that he can blink right out of that base. And man, this expansion was just so late. I think he could have cut easily. He could have cut 3 of these stalkers to get this base up and running, and oh no, there's a drop going down in the main of Feast. I started looking at the mini-map and I was like, what's that blue stuff there? And then I realized there's a drop going on in the base of Feast, and his main gets taken out. So many workers get taken down as well. A lot of them have been pulled down here, but now Feast is not mining at all, and this drop is doing so much damage. Feast just deciding to try to go for the front, but as you can see, MMA has so much here to be able to defend. He's got a bunker, tons of Marine Marauder. He's already pulled all of his SCVs here in preparation for this attack, and Feast is completely supply blocked, can't produce anymore, and this is going to be GG from Feast. I don't think there's any way he can possibly break MMA there, and yes, the GG comes down, or the GHG rather, comes down from Feast, meaning that MMA has tied it up 1-1 in this best of 5. So, stick with me guys, we are going to be going into Game 3 right now to see who is going to be taking the lead next in Game 3 of Feast versus MMA from IEM Kiev.